Hello and welcome to a brand new series on my channel. This is going to be a sort of creative showcase series that I'm doing, and I figured I'd start today by doing some 5x5 Nether portal designs. I've got 5 of them here just to stick in theme, and they're going to be going through varied difficulties. So I figured we'd jump straight in with a nice easy one to begin with, and this is going to be set up in the coral reef biome. So for all of these builds here, it's all going to be sort of biome based builds, sort of trying to keep it looking natural and blended into the environment. So as you can see through the glass, I've set up a sort of custom made coral biome. Let's just jump straight into the water actually so we can have a proper look. Should have the effect kick in a minute, hopefully. Where's my night vision? Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, it is working. Yeah, so I've come along and I've just basically made a custom coral, loads of vibrant colours, you know, just trying to keep it sort of Minecrafty, keep it simple, and yeah, I think it looks pretty good. You could easily come along into a coral biome that's already there and sort of work off of that, but the actual portal itself is here at the back. So I've had to use fence gates just to make it so that you can actually light the Nether portal, because otherwise it'd be sort of switching off, which we don't want. Yeah, so again, just sort of keeping it in theme, keeping everything bright and colourful. As I say, this is probably the simplest design I've made out of the 5, and I still think it looks great. The shaders are kind of making this look a little bit weird, so I might actually just take them off a sec. Bear with me for just a second. Shaders off. Just so you can see it in the sort of natural Minecraft way. So yeah, okay, this is a lot easier to see like this. I'll put the shaders back on for the rest. Yeah, plenty of seagrass, plenty of colour, and just really, really vibrant. I have on the back as well set it up so that there's fence gates on the back. So the idea here is you could have this in the middle of a coral and you'd be able to come along, go into swim mode, and just, you know, go through from one side to the other. I'm not going to go through because it's just going to take me straight back into the Nether, which we don't want. But yeah, so a nice simple design. Yeah, and I think we'll move on from here. As I say, I've not really got much to say about this. It's just a 5x5 design. Nice and simple, nice and colourful, and would work well within the biome itself. So let's just dump the shaders back on. And there we go. I love Silder's shaders. They look fantastic. So go back. So the next one we've got is a desert biome. So my idea behind this one was that we'd make an oasis sort of thing. So you can imagine this entire area would be a full-size desert, and you finally found your oasis, and you're like, oh great, we finally got some water, but there's your Nether portal. Again, this runs on a sort of similar idea, that you'd be able to run through it, go through the other side, and yeah, basically just come out on the other side of a hill. Again, this is a fairly simple design, but I've added a bit of variation into the sand, just chucking in the sandstone blocks and slabs and stairs. A little bit upset actually, because in the past the stair block used to have a different texture on the bottom, which was really good for sort of blending in with the sand, but this looks okay. It just helps sort of break it up a little bit, and we've got the dead bushes there just to help add to the sort of theme of being a bit broken down and empty. Yeah, a little custom tree that I've built up. Nothing really too amazing going on here. This is just stripped birch wood, just sort of made in an arching shape, so it's arching over the water, as close as the water as it can get, just so that it can survive. And it'd be a good place for you as a wanderer of the desert to come and finally get some shade. Yeah, so the idea behind this is just having loads of varied heights around it. And I think it'd blend in really well with a desert itself. So, you know, you could have your build just off in the distance sort of thing, and this just being part of the desert just sort of makes things a bit more natural and keeps everything looking Minecrafty as well, which is a lot of what I was going for in this build. So yeah, really happy with the way this one looks. And I think now we can move on to the next one, which actually this one I struggled with quite a bit. So this is an ice spike biome portal, which I love the actual ice spike itself. I think that looks brilliant. You know, you got all the different types of ice in there, your blue ice, packed ice, and normal ice. And I tried making some custom trees again. This is just a spruce tree, which you would expect to find there. But I also tried to make a tree using acacia logs, just to make it a little bit different. But then the more I thought about it, the more I was sort of realizing that those trees wouldn't really survive out there. So yeah, but it's there. I think it looks pretty cool, and it does blend in pretty well with the snow layers stacking up on it. We got the water here, and I've chucked some ice blocks down, which the shaders actually make it look like it's just a thin layer of ice. Actually, that looks pretty cool. Yeah, just to make it look like, you know, this water is starting to freeze over, or it could be the other way around, that this water is starting to sort of defrost, and you know, where global warming is happening. But yeah, I'm really happy with the way this looks. I did struggle quite a bit with coming up with little custom designs. These are just bits of dead coral. Again, just gives the illusion that things are a bit broken down and dead. So yeah, as I say, we got the 5x5 portal design in there. I say it's a 5x5. The actual obsidian is a 7x7. The portal inside it itself is a 5x5. So I think the main thing to do when you're building these sorts of things up is sort of block bits off, basically, just to add a bit of shape to the portal, so it's not the same old boring square shape that we're so used to seeing all the time. And yeah, this is the ice spike biome. Pretty happy with the way it's turned out. So now we're going to be coming into some of the slightly more complicated ones. So the next one we've got here is the plains biome, which I think looks brilliant. Obviously shaders helps make everything look a lot better. So the idea behind this is we've got a tree that's sort of been, I suppose, struck by lightning. It's been broken down, which is why we've got the stripped oak at the top there. And, or is that strip birch? I might have used strip birch. Not 100% sure now. Yeah, so we've got a big old tree that's been hit by lightning. Part of it's fallen down, which I've got laying on the floor there. And yeah, I think this adds a lot of atmosphere to the build, and you can add lore and stuff like that. I just think it looks brilliant, to be honest. Lots of high grass and lots of flowers. Loads of colour in this little river section here, and a few custom trees dotted about the place, which I think adds a lot to it. We've got this little overhang section where the roots sort of grown over rather than down, and is sort of reaching out for the water, you know, clawing as close to it as it can possibly get. Gives you a nice little area to walk down. You can get another little view of the river and the trees through here, and yeah, come out along the backside. It basically just gives you another way to sort of pass through the area, and you can go on through to wherever it is that you're looking at going to next. Another little custom tree back here. So I think the main thing with this one is getting the shape of the tree right. It does take a lot of time and a lot of practice, but it also takes a lot of randomness as well. I think it's a healthy balance of the two, to be totally honest. You need to sort of just chuck blocks anywhere to begin with to get a general shape. This is the way I do it anyway, to get your general shape, and then you need to bring it together, and yeah, just to try and make it look as natural as possible, which I think I've done a fairly good job here, and I'm really happy with the way this one's turned out. I started thinking about lighting at this point as well, because that's going to be an important thing if you were to build this in a survival world. So what I've done is chuck down some green carpet with some torches underneath. It'll just keep the area lit up. You could use glowstone or sea lanterns underneath, just to make sure you don't get the sort of smoke particles coming out, but it doesn't really make too much of a difference to me, especially not here. But yeah, so let's talk about this river a little bit. What I've done here is just added loads and loads of variation into it. So we've got loads of stone about the place, making it look a little bit rocky, a bit more like what you'd expect a river to actually look like, because it wouldn't just be smooth dirt. I've chucked some colour in as well. We got some kelp and some seagrass, and yeah, even more of the coral blocks, which I think just look brilliant. So yeah, I sort of envision this as part of a plains biome. It definitely fit in very well, and yeah, I think it'd look brilliant. Just sort of around your build, you could build up like a little custom forest or something around it, or this could just be sort of like an area where there once was a great tree, as we can see, that's sort of fallen down. It doesn't have to be a fully kitted out forest or anything. This could just be sort of like a circle of trees, and you know, you can have your base just a little bit away from it, just to sort of break it up and add lore to the game. Yeah, so that's the plains biome. So now we're going to move on to the final one of the video, which is the extreme hills biome. I'm really happy with the way this one looks. It's very, very grey, as you would expect. There's loads and loads of variation going on. You've got your cobblestones, your normal stone. We've got some coarse dirt, gravel, andesite, grey carpets, again doing the torch trick underneath, which I think really makes this look quite evil. I'd say this is definitely the hardest one of the lot to build. And that is definitely depending on what your sort of terraforming levels are like. So I've got some custom trees here. I kind of wanted to make this area look a little bit dead and desolate. So hence why we've got the grey scale trees here. So to make this, I've used coral blocks that die when they're outside of water, added coral fins onto the side, and different sort of coral blocks on the top. I can't actually remember what ones these are. Let's have a look. You are dead fire coral. So yeah, so I've added that onto the top. It just makes it look bushy, makes it actually look like a tree. Because if you just use the base coral blocks, then it's just going to look blocky and horrible. Yeah, so I basically just terraformed up the edge of this mountain, chucked some extra portals in the edges there just to make it look a bit more evil and all of that sort of stuff. You know, there's a little bit of it down there as well, and loads of the dead coral about the place just to sort of make it pop, make it look right. And yeah, everything is leading you up into this central portal area where we can go through it. Yeah, okay, we'll destroy the portal. Yeah, so we can come through, use some magma blocks just to sort of make this area look like the inside of a volcano, I suppose. Because you could continue this upwards and build it into a volcano, something like that, which I think would look pretty good. Let's just grab a flint and steel real quick and get that relit. Yeah. Oh, I actually had it equipped anyway. Yeah, so the important thing with this is, again, creating it to look like an actual landscape. So, you know, you've got these little boulders jotted about the place that I've used the cobblestone for and things like that. And just all the way up, continuing the texture. Because if you just use plain stone bricks or stone blocks, then this is going to look really boring and it's not going to keep people interested. But I think like this, it comes out looking really, really good. And yeah, I'm really happy with the outcome of this one. The reason I started doing this is because I've been thinking about the Nether portals in my single player world. Now, at the moment, I've got a few of them scattered around just for ease of transport. But eventually, what I'm going to want to do is create something that's a bit more lore based and fits in with the natural environment. So yeah, this is basically me just practicing on a few different biomes to see how I can make these portals. And as I say, I'm really happy with the way a lot of this looks. So you can see at the top here actually that I mentioned about keeping it flat and all of that. Yeah, see, it just looks really boring up the top here. So I kind of stopped doing it because, to be totally honest, we're only really looking at it from down here. Yeah, loads of shape and loads of variation. It's the most important thing when you're trying to come up with a natural looking build like this. So yeah, at any rate, I hope you guys have enjoyed this short little showcase. If you want me to go in depth on any of these a little bit more, then I can do. If you want me to do some tutorials on how I built these up, then I can do that as well. It doesn't take too long, and it's a lot easier when you're in an actual world and not a creative flat world. But you know, it's also fun to try and build these things up from scratch anyway, because when you're making a build, you could have a sort of flattish area. So say I was in a plains biome, and I decided that I wanted to put a mountain in. Why not build the mountain yourself? You spend all that time digging up stone that you've got it there. You could build yourself a mountain, and that's kind of what I was thinking with this. I'm really tempted to use a similar design to this in my actual single player world. Really happy with the way this looks. And the plains biome as well. I think this one looks great. Almost like a secret garden sort of thing. The little lake itself looks awesome. Really happy with the way the trees have come out. So with these trees, I've been using oak leaves and jungle leaves just to add a little bit of variation into that. Just makes it look really cool. And yeah, I'm really happy with the way that this sort of destroyed tree has come out. And yeah, I just think it looks really good. So the ice spike biome, this is a little bit simpler. I mean, as I say, you could just come along, find an ice spike that already exists and sort of just open it up and build that into it, or you can do what I've done here and create a custom one. Either way works really well. Similar thing goes to this, just remember to use sandstone rather than just sand when you're going around your portal. Everything else can be sand, but I love the idea of having a little oasis, and this is where the portal comes out. Yeah, I think that looks brilliant, and I think this is just a good idea. I've not really tried building with coral before. Could do with some refining, but again, if you was just in your single player world and you're swimming through, you can come out of that and swim straight through from one side to the other, which I think is great. But yeah, so these are my first 5 sort of Nether portal designs. I might go through and do some more of the biomes, just to see what ideas I can come up with that. And yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment and all of that sort of stuff if you've enjoyed. And if you've not enjoyed, yeah, tell me why. I'd love to improve my content, and I'm always open to criticism as long as it's constructive. You know, if it's just going off on one for no reason, then we will get rid of them. But yeah, if you've got anything constructive to say, then drop us a comment. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I will catch you guys in the next one.